Hey everybody, Monty Reed here, and today we're going to be cooking some slam cooking. This is a shredded beef, or creamy shredded beef. And I'm going to have some green peas as well as mushrooms, and I'm using the Bechamel White Sauce. And to add a little extra creamy texture, I'm going to throw in some instant mashed potatoes. So we're starting out with 3 cups of shredded beef, 2 cups of mushrooms, a cup of green peas, a cup of onions, and half a cup of the white sauce, and half a cup of the mashed potatoes, half a cup of spinach, and half a cup of celery. This is a tablespoon of the Italian seasoning, half a teaspoon of Chef's Choice seasoning, this wonderful stuff, and then I've got a tablespoon of freeze-dried garlic. You can use any kind of garlic you want. Okay. And I've also got some instant rice going over there. It's a little bit of brown rice and a little bit of white rice mixed together. Just trying to get the tripod to cooperate here. There we go. A little butter in there. And you don't have to use butter or oil. You can just put all the ingredients in and add water. I'm guessing about 3 to 4 cups of water. We'll see how it goes. I've never made this before. It's kind of inspired by beef stroganoff. I didn't have any stroganoff noodles and decided I wanted to go with brown rice and white rice mix. There's 1 cup of white rice and 2 cups of brown rice in here, mixed together. And I always like to mix olive oil with the butter. And we want to get a little toast on the garlic and the mushrooms. And like I said, it's not necessary to use the oil or the butter. It's not necessary to toast the freeze-dried food. You can just add the water. But I like to get just a little bit of that caramelization for the garlic and the mushrooms. Go ahead and add the beef. We've got this on high heat. You got to be careful so you don't burn the garlic. Now, if you want to, you can just add the water anytime. If you don't want to risk it, go ahead and put the water in right away. But I'm trying to get a little toast on the shredded beef. You don't need to, because the shredded beef has been slow cooked for 8 hours and then shredded and freeze-dried. Pretty amazing, the process. Onions in there. We are going to hear the Thrive sizzle when we add the first 2 cups of water. And you have to keep it moving if you're going to have it on high, because it's very easy to accidentally burn the garlic or the onions. I went to a mushroom conference and found out that mushrooms actually get more nutritional value after they're cooked. And that is the first 2 cups of water. You can see that's not going to be enough. It's just getting the Thrive sizzle going. I'm going to add another 1 cup. So a total of 4 cups of water so far. I think, I don't do math so well, but I'm pretty sure that we have about 7 cups of total ingredients here. And for that bechamel sauce to really get mixed into everything, we're going to want it liquidy. So I'm going to go to 5 cups. Also, to fully hydrate the beef, you're going to definitely want plenty of hot water. You don't want too much because you don't want to wash away the flavor. So there, we're at 5 cups. Now, I'm going to go ahead and add the peas. I'm going to throw in the Italian seasoning. And a lot of the freeze-dried foods, it'll say mix the peas with water, and then mix the mushrooms with water. You don't have to do that. You can just throw and go, and that's where you increase the total water for your total recipe by the amount of water needed for that product. And for the most part, if you're doing 3 cups of beef, you're going to want 1.5 cups of water. Bechamel sauce, I want to make sure that there's enough water that the flavor will get mixed and it'll move around. And then our chef's choice, you want to get that mixed in. And like I mentioned, the first step with the butter and the olive oil, if you wanted to save a little time, you didn't have to do that. I like to do that because that gives a little bit of caramelization and a toasty flavor, and it adds more of a gourmet flavor to it. I'll throw in our celery and our spinach. Now we're at 6 cups of water so far. Just starting to get a simmer on here. That mashed potatoes is just going to add to the creaminess. We are at 7 cups of water for this dish. You can always top this off with cheese if you want to. However, I'm going for the creamy beef, and we're going to pour that over the rice. I always like to add lots of vegetables. Now you could do this with just the beef. I had a fun story. My grandmother told me that my father was, when he was 19, he was working as a chef at a logging camp back in Montana, and he called her up because they were out of flour. And he still had to make bread, and he had to make biscuits and pancakes and all kinds of things. And somebody had a birthday, they needed to make a cake, but he was just out of flour, and they had no supplies coming. And she asked him about everything that was in the kitchen, and they found they had an abundance of potatoes. And so she taught him how to substitute mashed potatoes for flour. And he was able to bake cake and bread and all kinds of things. So that's where I got the inspiration for adding the mashed potatoes to get a little more creamy texture in the cream sauce. Now, if you don't like the old lady grabbing the spoon and tasting it, I don't like that either. So one of the things I learned from Chef Todd was to get a bunch of spoons, and I just went down to the store and got a bunch of baby food spoons. And I like to taste often. And you only use the spoon once. You watch that. I think most of your guests would appreciate it if you don't lick the spoon and stick it back in the pan. So. That is coming out just right. So now, once we got it simmering, I'm going to turn it down and put the lid on it. And if you want it more creamy, you can just add more of the bechamel sauce. And so this is a light recipe, but if you like to have a little more, then you just add to taste. Like I said, I've never made this particular recipe before. I'm just adding a little bit. Looks like about a tablespoon more. And that is the creamy shredded beef. And we're going to be having that with rice. Because this is slam cooking, instead of cooking for days, it's ready. Go. That is our creamy beef with rice. Slam cooking. Stay safe, everyone. This is Monty Reed. Have a great day.